I've started the recording, and then I'll just open the Smart PLS, and there we go. Last week, I started with you by introducing you to how you can get access to your data from the Google Forms. Is there anyone here who has an issue with how to get your Google Forms and the data from your Google Forms? Is there anybody here who has an issue, problem? Okay. So if nobody has an issue, then we can continue. So please download your work in terms of your data from the Google Forms. So make sure you download that. Once you download that, now you convert once you do that, then you convert the data if they are in a form, if they are textual. And when I say textual, I'm talking about in terms of strongly disagree to strongly agree. If you need support, I showed you how to go about it, right? You can check the video I share with you on my YouTube channel. Just check and convert your. It's easy to do. It's not difficult. It's very easy to do it. It's not a difficult thing. Okay, great. Now let's go into the analysis. So today we are just going to do the analysis, straightforward. To do the analysis, what I'm going to do today is that I'm just going to help you out with some papers. I'm going to share all these papers with you once we are done today. So I have been able to, throughout the week, I read a number of papers, about more than 10, but there are 9 of them I selected. I'm going to share all these papers with you. Okay, so one way by which you can make your analysis very easy is that you need to always pick 1 or 2 papers or even more to use them as a guide, something to guide you. Okay, why a guide? Because within these papers, they have a way of presenting their results, and you can base on that to help you out. So I'm going to base on some of these papers to help you so that it will make our analysis easy. And then I will also help you by putting so many papers. I have so many things to do. Sorry about that. Okay, so now I'm going to call this section 4. Why section 4? Because this is where you present your results. So remember, I help you out by writing the introduction. You wrote your introduction section, you sent it to me, and then you sent your literature review. I guess you still remember. So the first section was the introduction. Yeah, so if you still have not sent your work, make sure you have sent it. And those of you who are revising, keep on revising, make sure you send it. Then I help you out with the literature review. Within the literature review, that's where we saw the conceptual, in addition, the conceptual theoretical framework, right? And then from there, we came to the methodology. So this is where we specify the method, and then also we specified the data of the data, like how we get the data. And this I remember we all looked at things like the questionnaire. So in this section, you provide information about the questionnaire, and then you also provide information about the data analysis method, which in this context, I mentioned to you that We are all using the PLS-SEM. Great. So these 3 sections we have completed. These 3 sections, that's what I'm assuming. Now we come to the results. So what do you have to put in the results? So in the results section, these are the things, take note, these are the things that you have to put in. Give us the profile of the respondents. So give us a brief overview of the respondents. I hope you get what I'm saying. So let me take you here. Give us a brief overview of the respondent. The brief overview of the respondent, some studies call them the demographics. Like here, the demographics or the demographic details of the respondent. This is where you give us a brief overview. So present it, you can present this in the form of a table or in a form of chart, either bar chart or pie chart or whatever chart. Or you can present it in a form of a table. So if you take this table 2, they have summarized, or they have given us a summary of the participants. So information concerning their education, their age, the number of, in this case, they have a number of projects, their professional body that they are part of. This is RIBA, CIOB, PMI, and the rest. So give us some information about where do you see this. So you have to go back to your questionnaire and you have to go back to your Google form data, what I showed to you last week. Normally the first 3 or maximum 10 sections information, they talk about your respondents, the educational level, their age, and some of the basic information that you ask. So in your questionnaire, not mine, your questionnaire. So everyone's questionnaire, you develop your questionnaire differently. So you need to present that. The frequency, how many people have, let's say, university education, how many have secondary education, how many of them have professional certificates, and so forth. What's their age, the number of years of experience, right? So you need to give us that.
Oh, please, I have a question.
Yeah, ask.
Yeah, so with regards to the demographic information, when you are setting up the questionnaire, do you have some factors to consider to know maybe the question demographic, like the particular question to ask under the demographic question? Because I've seen that maybe somebody is doing something on circular economy and then the person is asking about age or gender. Does it really matter actually?
Okay, thank you very much. This is a very great question. It comes down to your research question and your research objectives. And also, that's the first one. Second, it comes down to what has been done in the industry or the field in which you are conducting the study. These are the 2 things I would say you have to base on. Let me explain to you why. If you take the first one I mentioned, which I said is based on your objectives and even your research hypothesis, some studies, something like age and educational level, they use them in their study as moderating and mediating factors. Moderating and mediating factors, which we will see some of them in the PLS that I'm going to run. So in that case, if you are going to use something like the age, the number of years of experience of your respondents, and then the educational level as your moderating factors, as your control variables, then you can't skip them. You have to put them in the demographic section of your questionnaire. So that's the first one. Secondly, you need to look at what is being done or what has been done in the industry. For example, your research is about natural-based solutions in coastal settlements, or your research is about informal settlements or in urban areas. or your research is about a circular economy, or your research is about financial performance, or your research is about what again? Any other thing, electric vehicle infrastructure, charging infrastructure. Just look at what people have done in the industry, in the field, in the area where you are conducting your study. So if you look at something like what Emmanuel you mentioned, let's say circular economy, maybe if you check all the circular economy, past circular economy papers, for each of them, they reported, they showed certain demographics. Then you have to do the same. Yeah, or even if you don't do the same, I mean, tone almost the same line. It may not be that you have to put exactly everything that they put there, but if maybe they put 10, maybe you have to put about 8 or 7 or 6. So personally, that is what I look at. Because it's not just a matter of, I know some people just put some of these demographics there. They don't even know what the demographics stand for and whatever. They just pick and put something there. Everything that you put in your questionnaire, that thing must have a meaning. You must have a meaning. It must represent something. Yeah. Don't put anything there. So some of you, when you were trying to put together your questionnaire and you sent it to me, I kept on telling you something. Some things don't matter. Like even some of your demographics, some of you said what? There was something that concerning education. Some people said somebody who has no education. And my question was very simple. You are going to distribute questionnaires to some people, which you expect them to respond. And you are saying that you want to reach out to people who don't have education, any formal education. If it is interviews, yes, it's something acceptable. Or semi-structured in questionnaire where maybe, or even semi-structured interviews where you, the researcher, you'll be part of the data collection process, then somehow it is acceptable because sometimes you ask the questions and you, the researcher, you will record the responses. But here is the case where you are going to distribute the surveys in a way that you will not be there. It's just a link. You send it to them and those people fill. So imagine sending a link to somebody who cannot read. Somebody who has no formal education. The person cannot read. The person has no idea. Right? How is that person going to do it? And I got to know that some people took this kind of thing from some previous studies. Yes, it's good, but the question is, does it apply to this case? Or is it something which is like feasible? Is it something that's going to work? Yeah, so we need to think about all these things. But at the end of the day, look at two main things. One, is it okay for your research objectives and hypothesis? And then two, is it something that the field in which you are conducting the study who have done similar things in the past? Once these questions are answered, I think you can go ahead and then use them. Yeah. Is it okay?
Yes, Doc.
It's my explanation. Okay, thank you. So please, that's the first thing that you present. What next? The next thing that you have to do is that you need to look up to what we call the common method bias. Okay, yeah, two things. If your study is in such a way that, so the one good thing about the PLS-SEM is that it gives you the opportunity to conduct the EFA. Unlike the CB-SEM, the CB-SEM is strict. For the CB-SEM, you can conduct CFA. CB-SEM is based on confirmatory factor analysis, which is already in the PLS-SEM. But for the which is already in the smart PLS. But for the PLS-SEM, one good thing is that you can conduct EFA. Why do you have to conduct EFA? That's the question. So there are some of you here who you have factors. Somebody like, I know Alfonso, is Alfonso here? Alphonsus, and even Emmanuel, you don't have your factors have not been categorized. I don't know, Emmanuel, have you now categorized your factors? Is Alphonsus online? Can you hear from me, Alphonsus?
Yeah, Alphonsus is on it.
Okay. So if you have a study, or if your study is in such a way that you don't have the factors already categorized, you have not categorized your factors, you don't even know what the factors are, or you don't know which group, which component your factors will come under, because the names of the factors will form what we call the latent construct. And then the factors that will go under each of the latent constructs will be called the indicators, or the measured items. If you don't have that, then you can use a EFA, which is exploratory factor analysis. You can conduct exploratory factor analysis to help you to categorize the factors, classify the factors. Okay, investigate the connection between the variables and classify the factors clearly and very well before you go ahead to conduct your structural equation modeling. And where do you conduct this? Very simple. So if you have SPSS, you can do this. Or you can once again use Jamovi. The other day I told you guys to use Jamovi. Did anybody use Jamovi? Or did anybody download Jamovi? Download Jamovi. It's free. It will help you. Within Jamovi, you can conduct so many analysis, like factor analysis and all that. You can conduct that. You can conduct factor analysis in Jamovi. Okay.
Talk about it. You only said we should download PLS-SEM, but you didn't talk about the Jamovi.
No. I'm just recommending it now. Jamovi, I mentioned that. I think I mentioned that some time ago. Yeah, okay. You have to. But the Jamovi is not for. Sorry, it's not for. It's not for the Smart PLS. Smart PLS is different from Jamovi. But what I'm recommending to you now, which I think I have mentioned it before, is that you can also download Jamovi. The Jamovi is free. And it can be used for regression, ANOVA, t-test, factor analysis, and even structural equation modeling. Yeah, because it has certain packages in there. Just that you focus on the PLS for now. Get the PLS done, and then later you can use Jamovi. But in case you want to run your factor analysis and you don't have SPSS, then you can get it done here. But I think all of you have SPSS, or is there anyone here who does not? Is there anyone here? Is there anyone here who, Alphonsus, do you have access to? Okay, do you have access to SPSS? Oh, okay, good. So SPSS, you can use SPSS. Great. What about Debbie? Is Debbie here? Okay, so that's one thing that you can do.
Yes, Doc.
Okay, so it will support you to categorize the factors in case you don't have the groupings. Why are we categorizing the factors? Don't forget, we need to categorize the factors because they will help us to run the structural equation modeling. Okay, so this person who did this study, he started with somebody will say that from the scratch or from the traditional approach, because many structural equation modeling will not allow this. But I know nowadays, or in recent times, these things are also done, where somebody has a number of factors, and then the person tries to categorize the factors first. So these are the factors. So this is for the person. This is what I was talking about. So you see the number of factors, 33 factors. But all these factors are together. We don't know which one belongs to what and whatever and whatever. They are just together. You have identified a number of benefits. So here they are benefits. The person identified a number of benefits, a number of factors, a number of issues, a number of risk, a number of whatever. And I know many people, you do this kind of study. Not everybody does this. I mean, not everyone do this kind of this research. But if you are somebody who is doing something like the factors, benefits, risk, issues, problems, whatever, then you have all the question is, how do you still go ahead and run? Because the structural equation modeling is based on already established groups. The groups are what we call the latent variables with their indicators. So if you have something like this, how do you still go ahead and run your study? You can do it. It's doable. Yeah. So do this. Very easy. Yeah. So now I have resolved some of your problem, right?
Can you go to the title for us?
I'll share the papers with everyone. Don't worry about that. Once we are done, I'm going to share it with everyone. All these papers are going to be shared. This paper was published in a very high or top tier journal because Nature, Scientific Nature report or Nature, they publish very, very high tier journal articles. Yeah, so yeah, I'll share. Okay, so that's the first one. Now let me skip. So now let's have that. You have done all these things. You have your groups. You have established the relationships between them. Now what next? The next thing is to conduct what we call. I want to tell you. I want to share this with you before we go to the measurement model and then the structural model. There's something that you need to always check. It's called the common method bias. Everybody take note. So once again, let me go here. So profile. I would say if you are using EFA, categorize factors into components. Please take note of this. So if you are using EFA, if the factors have already been categorized or grouped, just like how many of you have done from the conceptual framework and the theoretical framework, then there's no need for you to do the EFA. But if you are having raw factors, raw issues, raw problems, it's good for you to conduct EFA. You have to categorize the factors or the issues into components, which will form your latent construct and their indicators. Now, what next? The next thing to do is you need to conduct what we call common methods bias. So I have something here I want to share with you, and I'll use that to explain to you. What is the meaning of common method bias? You need to conduct that. So there they are explaining. So what is common method bias? It's a systematic measurement error that occurs when variations in survey responses are caused by the data collection method. So how you collected your data. Yeah. So if maybe you give the data to a certain group of students where everybody take yes, 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 or strongly agree, strongly agree, strongly agree, strongly agree, strongly agree, strongly agree. Then remember, you are going to have issues. Yeah, that's why we encourage people to give the survey to the right people or to the right persons so that they will respond to the survey in a right way, not just some students that you just call them and then everybody will be taking yes, 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 yes. Why? It's going to affect the outcome. So the data collection method, rather than the actual concept being measured, is often artificially inflates or deflates correlation between variables, leading to false research conclusion. What happens? Or what lead to this? When respondents subconsciously align their answers to appear logically consistent or rational, like the person is not supposed to take strongly agree, but for whatever reason, the person will just take strongly agree. Maybe to appease you or to make you happy, you the researcher. The person is supposed to take strongly disagree, but if the person feels that if I take strongly disagree, maybe King will be angry, or Mr. Jarvis will be angry, or Solomon will be angry. So I'm just going to take strongly agree so that the researcher will be happy. It's going to affect your destiny. Once again, that's the reason why it is always good to give your questionnaire to people who are, I would say, a bit neutral. Let me put it that way. Like people who just take, not some people that you have coached. Once again, that thing I want to hammer on it again. You coach people to, hey, everyone take strongly agree, strongly agree. It's remember you are doing something that's going to affect your work. Yeah, like give the people the free will to respond.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, give people free. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Doc. I think people are entitled to their opinions. So in situations where
Yeah.
occurs in your responses, how are you able to tell that people are not being straightforward or they are not being truthful to answering the questionnaires?
Okay, yeah, people are entitled to their opinions. So
Yes.
in that case, when you give it to neutral people, they are just going to they should just answer whatever they give it to you. I mean, whatever they respond, whatever they give to you, that's okay. But I'm talking about a situation where maybe you, the researcher, intentionally coach people.
Force them to. Okay.
Yeah, that's where the problem is. But if maybe me, I'm just there, and then you just send your questionnaire to me that, Doc, fill it, then I fill it for you. I fill it in. That's it. That's one. There's no problem. But I'm talking about coaching. Coaching.
Okay.
Or some people that you think, sometimes some people they can be influenced. You are aware, you the researcher, you are aware that some people are being influenced. Such people you have to be careful. I mean, the other two things will explain this thing more. Participants provide answers to make them look good or align with the perceived societal norms. And then the last one is a respondent temporary state or boredom influences how they rate consecutive questions. Like you when you are giving the questionnaires to people, you need to let them know that please take your time, respond to it. Because sometimes, we all, I mean, I think I've done it before. I mean, I have to say this. Somebody gave me a questionnaire and like I was tired. I wanted to finish responding to the thing quickly. So I ticked yes, 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 or agree, 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 agree. Or most of the responses were more strongly agree, strongly agree, strongly agree, strongly. And then with the participant provide answers that make them look good or align with perceive. Maybe the questionnaire is coming from your boss. If your boss is undertaking his or her master's degree and your boss has come to you with his or her survey, are you sure you are going to give your boss some answers? Or you're going to you try to make sure that you take something that will make the person look okay. So at the end of the day, yes, you can't do much to change people, but in the situations where you, the researcher, you tend to have some level of influence and coaching and all that. Be careful about those things. That's what I'm saying. But Ken, what you said, I agree with you. Yeah, because people are entitled to their opinions, and people can respond to whatever they want. They want to respond. They can say whatever they want to say. But in a situation where you, the researcher, you have control, be very careful. Don't coach people. Don't tell people to respond in a certain way. Just give them the free will to respond to whatever they want to respond. That's one. You tend to have a better result than the other one. Another thing is that you can separate the measurement item. You can collect the data separately. For example, if you are dealing with financial performance and project success, let's assume these are your concepts. You can decide to collect data on the project success different, and then the financial performance different, and then you put the two data sets together and then use them for your result, for your analysis. That will somehow reduce the common method bias. Okay, you collect them at different times. You can even use different rating scales. That's the Likert scale. Or getting your data from different sources. Like some of you who are using purely secondary data, you can decide to take some data from IMF, some from World Bank. Yes, for that it will reduce the common method bias. Okay, and then when you are collecting data, you can use different supervisors, different researchers, instead of just self-reporting. Maybe, let me give this example. Maybe you take a certain group of people that you know, and then you let them respond. Also, you can use tools like Heyman single factor test, which you can run in Stata. You can also run it in SPSS. Okay, and then within the Smart PLS, you can, when you run the Smart PLS using the VIF is value inflation factor, or variance inflation factor, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and when you run it and you get the items to be less than 3, that means collinearity does not exist. They are not too correlated in terms of your construct, in terms of your variables, in terms of your indicators. That's one acceptable. Or within the factor analysis, when you run your factor analysis, if you run off the factor, look up to the unrotated section, because normally once you run your factor analysis, there are 2 types of rotation that will come out. You have the rotated table, and then rotated by using either Verimax or any of these rotation methods, or the opaque, or any of them. So you can just use the unrotated, and when you check the unrotated section, if all your factors have 40%, the extreme one is 50% and above, then that means you're okay. But if they are less than that, then there's an issue. Okay, so these are the things that will help you to detect your common method bias. Check this, it's important because many examiners, many reviewers ask you about your common method bias. Yeah, they are interested, especially using the Heyman single factor test. And then also, if your study is more this using the unrotated factor. Any question? Yeah, that's okay. Now let's move on to the next. So now all these things have been done. You have conducted your method, a common method, but now you come to the key issues. So I will call all these ones. Well, you can put all these 3 together as kind of the initial descriptives, or initial things that you have to address, or any of them that you want to, or however you want to go. But now you come to the main structural equation modeling. In the main structural equation modeling, there are 2 things that you need to run, or there are 2 things that you need to check. The first one is the measurement model, and then the second one is your structural model. And that is what I'm going to run with you today. And then we also check the model fit. And then we move on. So the last section or the last part will be checking what we call the model fit. And some people prefer to also check the predictive relevance. It all depends on you as to what you want. Okay. So take note of these things. So now the SEM itself, in this context, the PLS-SEM. So what do you run? What do you check? You check the measurement model. So the measurement model, if you come to this is what we call the measurement model. And remember, the measurement model, I showed to you that there are certain indicators, there are certain things that will help you to know whether you have your measurement model assessment done well or it has not been done well. So without wasting time, I will just take you straight to this table. To this software, to our software. And then I have a SEM model here. In this model, I'm just trying to check how hours spent studying has impact on retention to studies and how retention to studies has impact on high exam score. Or that's the indirect relationship. But in terms of direct relationship, how hours spent studying has impact on high exam score. Something like this. Okay, so when I was having this training with the University of Ghana students, when somebody asked me a question, and the question that somebody asked me is, are you supposed to put only 3 indicators? Because it seems all your indicators, when I say indicators, I'm talking about the yellow rectangular boxes. Are you supposed to have only 3 indicators? Please, everybody take note. No, you are not supposed to show only 3 indicators. In fact, the recommendation is that you have to put in more indicators, many indicators. Minimum I will recommend to you is 5 from your questionnaire. When you are developing your questionnaire, minimum indicators should be 5. Personally, that's what I would suggest. Why? Why should it be 5? The reason why it should be 5 is that when normally, or in many situations, when you run your PLS, I'm going to run the PLS. So let me run it. When you run this PLS-SEM, you see here the factor loadings. The factor loadings. They are all 0.9, 0.8. These are perfect. These are good. These are very perfect. Great. But in many situations, you will not get 0.926. Just like running factor analysis. There are many situations where you run factor analysis and you won't get some results. Is there anyone here who has run factor analysis before? Is there anyone here?
Yes, Doc.
Yeah. When you run your factor analysis, do you always get 0.7 and above?
No, please, you get some even 0.3.
0.3. So in that case, what do? So the recommendation, according to what I taught you or have been teaching you, is that your indicator reliability, under circumstance, if you get a factor loading which is less than 0.7, you are supposed to remove the factor. You have to take it out of your. So imagine having many factor loadings which are less than 0.7. That means you have to remove a lot and keep the ones which are 0.7 and above. And that is the reason why I recommend to you that when you are designing your questionnaire, each of the constructs, make sure you put in many indicators. I guess you get what I'm saying. What I'm saying is clear. Put in many indicators. Don't put in questionnaire, then you put some few indicators there. You are going to, it's going to, affect you. It's going to affect you. Let me try and see whether I can get something from here. It's going to affect you. I want to show you a questionnaire. The questionnaire, like this one. Yeah. This one. I mean, this one I use it to teach, but if I'm developing this questionnaire naturally or normally, I'll put in more indicators. So here, for example, the political factors, which is the contract, has only 3 indicators. They are not enough. You have to put in more. Add more factors. Make it about 5, minimum 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Why? Because you end up removing, it's possible you will end up removing many of the factors. And if you end up removing many of the factors, then it's going to affect your contract. But if you remove all the factors and you come down to 1 or none, the suggestion is that you have to remove this whole entire blue thing from that means you are deleting your latent variable, a concept that you want to examine. Now you have to remove it. And if you remove it, then your study is skewed. Your study is having kwashiorkor, or having you're having issues, or you're going to have issues. I hope you get my point. So once again, many of you have already made some of these mistakes, but in future, in your thesis, your PhD thesis, your master's thesis, make sure you put in many variables, many indicators. Just put them in. I mean, nobody will do anything to you if you have a questionnaire where the statements are many. I don't think you're going to have issues, right? Yeah. Let me check one questionnaire I had. I don't know whether it's there. It's not there. Yeah. I'm trying to get a questionnaire for you. Certain questionnaire I put together. Let me see. Oh, they are not here. I think I've uploaded them somewhere. Yeah. So for such questionnaires, you see that I put in so many indicators. So in simple terms, what I'm trying to encourage you to do is that please put in many indicators. And your indicators shouldn't only be 3. Because if you put in only 3, it's possible you may end up removing all of them, or you may remove 2. Or there will be nothing left for you to run. But the more indicators that you have, even if you remove some of them, you still have some of them left that will support your work. That's what I'm saying. Okay, great. So measurement model. So that's the first thing that you have to look at too. So 1, check the indicator reliability. So within the measurement model, report. So when you are writing, and that's exactly what the person did in this work, that's what they have done. I will not go into the details as to what they have said and blah, blah, blah. It's not important to me. But if you go through everything they have done, they have presented what I'm talking about, like discriminant validity, the construct validity, the indicator reliability, and the rest, HTMT and all that, they have done exactly the same. I'll not take my time to explain all that to you, but when you read the articles, you get to know it. Yeah, and as to how to present them, it's up to you. You are the one who is going to explain. So please interpret it and interpret it well. For example, if you are showing your indicator reliability, you need to help us to know why 0.7. I know some researchers retain 0.6 and 0.5. If you decide to retain 0.5 and 0.6, give us a reason why you think 0.5, 0.6, not 0.7 is important. You need to have justification. If you are reporting something less than 0.7, you need to give, if you have 0.7 and above, normally you don't have to talk too much. You don't have to explain yourself because it's self-explanatory. But if you have something less than 0.7, you need to give reasons why 0.7, less than 0.7 is acceptable. Now let's come to the internal consistency reliability. So now we are dealing with reliability, how reliable your measurement model is. Another reliability that you need to check is what we call internal consistency reliability. In that one, we use what we call the Chrome-Batch alpha and then the composite reliability. The Chrome-Batch alpha and then the composite reliability. Okay, great. So when you run your smart PLS, just come down to just on the left-hand side, just check this. You see the construct, just under the quality criteria, just click on construct reliability and validity. Okay, yeah, and then you see the Chrome-Batch alpha. Yeah, there. Okay, good. What again do you need to? So here they are all okay, they are all fine. So one good thing about the smart PLS is that if your results, your indicators are okay, they will come out as green. If they are not okay, they will come out as red. That means you need to, there's something wrong. Danger. That should also be 0.7 and above. Now, the next important thing to look at is the validity, the construct validity. The construct validity, we look at the convergent validity and then the discriminant validity. So with respect to the convergent validity, we use what we call the AVE, average variance explained. And that you should have 0.5 and above, 0.5 and above, 0.5 and above. So what about if I have less than 0.5? Once again, if it's less than, so you see, if it is less than 0.5, then you have to give a reason why it is still okay. Go and look for previous studies and use them to justify why something less than 0.5 should still be kept in your study. Great. So I hope you are all fine. Now, what next? The next thing is what we call discriminant validity. With the discriminant validity, you need to check things like the funnel lacquer. You can also check the ATMT and the cross-loadings. In recent times, the ATMT has been used or is being used as the measurement indicator for discriminant validity, because this is a kind of a model or indicator which was put out in the year 2015. The other two are a little bit old. So some people argue that the ATMT is a build-up on these two previous ones, the cross-loadings and then the funnel and lacquer. Because, for example, the funnel lacquer, which was the first discriminant validity that was put out by two researchers called Funnel and Lacquer, was put out in the year 1981. Then Martineau and Asparov in 1998 came out with what we call the cross-loadings, which can be used to assess the discriminant validity. And then Hensler in 2015 came out with the ATMT. So in the smart PLS, they are there. Where do you see that? Just click on the same under the construct reliability and validity. Just click on the discriminant validity. It comes after. Then you click on it. It will show you the ATMT. So the ATMT, it should be 0.9 or less, or the best one is 0.8 or less. So the smart PLS, if it is more than 0.9, it will show red. So here it's showing that our ATMT has an issue between retention to studies and high exam score. We need to check some things and fix them. Or if we are still going to keep them, we must have a good justification for that. Apart from the ATMT, what do you have to show? You can also check the funnel and lacquer. That's one to the same, 0.8, 0.9. So it seems everything is fine except two of them. Is it two? Okay. The funnel and lacquer I think is okay because looking at the funnel and lacquer, the relationship between them. Okay, just that if you are looking at the same item, they have a correlation which are more than 0.9. The same items. I'm talking about if you check high exam score and high exam score.
No, please.
Yeah.
The discriminate validity.
Discriminant.
Please, can
Discriminant.
Okay, thank you. Can you explain it to us that thing, because I've been seeing it in the paper a lot.
So it's here. Discriminant validity show how well a test measures the concept it was designed to measure. So it specifies whether the construct that you intended to measure, they are related or they are not related. But in this case, it's more about they are unrelated. We are trying to see how they are unrelated. And when they are unrelated, it comes down to what we call collinearity. So maybe some of you have heard of multicollinearity, which you can verify this or establish this with what we call a VIF, a variance inflation factor. It's just trying to help us how the two constructs, we want to know whether the two constructs, they are not related, because that's what we want to see, honestly. If you are measuring financial performance and let's say circular economy, these two concepts, we want to know that the two of them are not the same. Let's put it this way. It's just like somebody, you and let's say Emmanuel, you and your girlfriend, you go to the same company. That's why some organizations, they don't allow they don't allow couples and people who are in relationships to be in the same company, because at the end of the day, we assume that the two of you are the same. You and your wife, you and your husband, you and your boyfriend, you and your girlfriend, you are the same. Why are you the same? Because even though you may present yourself to the world that you are not the same, but behind the scenes, the two of you are the same. You talk, you share the same information, you discuss the same things, and so forth and so forth. So we want to know whether these things are indeed, they are not unrelated. Are they indeed unrelated? We want to establish that, because that's what actually we want. We want to see that they are unrelated. What you want to measure, or the relationship between the construct, we want to really establish that indeed they are unrelated. We want to know that, and that will make our work better. That's once again, that's I use that example. Many organizations don't allow couples to work in the same organization, like certain security jobs and even banks. Maybe some of you can even share where you work. If you are a couple, if you have you are in a relationship, your boyfriend, they will not allow you. If they get to know that somebody is your boyfriend, they will never employ you. If your boyfriend is in the same, because at the end of the day, you are the same. The two of you are the same. No matter how you argue, you are the same. And some even organizations will also not allow family members, like your brother, your sister, your mother, your father. They will not allow. Why? Because are the same. And even some of you who are into finance and some of these things, I think there is a certain principle or policy about related parties or something. It's a big issue, and it affects what we call the insider information, insider dealings. It's a big issue, because some people, once they are coming from the same source, they tend to behave in a certain way, or they tend to behave in the same way. Yeah, probably Solomon will be able to explain this insider information. Solomon. Yeah, there was
yes, I'm here.
American politician who had recently had an issue with insider information. I think somebody lost his bid to become something in America because of the insider information. Because sometimes when you are related to something, you have an upper hand. You have more information and all that than others.
You take advantage of that, yeah. Like
you take advantage, yeah.
And especially financial firms and all of that. I mean, banking it's a serious issue.
It's a serious issue,
yeah. Board level, where serious decisions are taken. Insider information
is a big issue, yeah. And one of the things that they look at to this thing is whether the parties involved, like they are related. Yeah, because if somebody is my wife, if somebody is my husband, if somebody is my mother, somebody is my sister, it's likely that if there's a potential opportunity somewhere, the person will share with me. Recently, I was sharing something with somebody somewhere about a certain something that is about to come up somewhere. Hey, when I finished sharing the thing with the person, I was like, hey, myself, I was like, and how did the person got to know whatever I was sharing? It's because the person is my friend. Yeah. So many organizations take this thing serious, and the same thing applies to this structural equation model. We want to know that these things that we are trying to measure, they are not related. Because once they are related, it makes your results look like it's almost the same thing that you are testing, the same concept. If concepts are the same, if your circular economy is the same as financial performance, then the question is, what are you even trying to test? Because it's the same thing. So we want to establish a point where the two constructs are not the same. We don't want to get that, and that will be determined by using your discriminant validity. So that's how it is. I hope, Emmanuel, you are fine with that.
Yes, Doc.
Okay, thank you. Then the next thing, let me be quick, and then I will end at the structural model. So please give me about 15 minutes more, and then we end. Yeah, I'll end at the structural model, and then we go back, we end. Then we continue next week. Next week, I'll take you through model fit, because many of you, I know you really want to know the model fit and all that, because robustness test and all that is something that many of you do, and I'm hopeful you'll be interested in that when we get there. Yeah, okay, so I think basically these are the things that you need to know about the measurement model. So report all these things about the measurement model. That's the first part. Now the measurement model has been reported. What next? The next thing to report is your structural model, information about your structural model. So the structural model tends to look at the relationship between the constructs. Remember, the measurement model was about the relationship between the indicators. The indicators, when I say indicators, I'm talking about the yellow boxes and the blue circle. The relationship between them is what formed the measurement model. Now we want to look at the relationship between only the blue circles. The blue circles, and that's what we call the structural model. The structural model. So what do you look at, or what do you report in your work? So you have to report these things in your analysis, the results section. You have to talk about the VIF, the variance inflation factor, or you can also do the volume inflation factor. With a variance inflation factor, it helps us to know whether there is multicollinearity. And once again, it has something to do with the discriminant validity. And we expect that they shouldn't be more than 3. Extreme is 3.3. Okay, so where do you see this? When you come to the smart PLS and you check the results, just scroll down, you see the collinearity statistics. Just click on that. And then it will show you. So here it seems I have issues. Some of my indicators have issues, and I need to check them. Right? Yeah. But one thing is that if they are not too extreme, because sometimes you see some of these VIF, some of them are 5 point something, 7 point something, this and that, but if they are somehow close to 3 or 3.3, you can accept them and give a reason why they are that. But acceptable is that it should be less than 0.3, because here is the case where we have all our construct validity and all that being okay. So if these things are a bit distant, then we may consider including them, like we still include them in the work. and provide justifications for them. Okay, so that is the collinearity test or the VIF. Any other thing that you need to do? Oh, okay. So I mean, I have the inner model. I think the inner models are okay, which is the once the inner models are okay, I think I should be fine. The outer ones, which are the indicators, that's where I have some issues. But in terms of the inner here refers to only the construct, the blue ones. It seems the blue ones, my VIF are okay. But where I have issues is the indicators and their construct. That's where there are some issues. Yeah, but once again, as I said, you can keep them and give a justification that you are going to be okay. Now, the next thing to look at is what we called examine the size and statistical significance of the path coefficients and higher path coefficients. So here you use what we call the path coefficient. Path coefficients. What is the path coefficient? Just come to the smart PLS, go back to either you can look at it from here or you can just look at it from the graph. The path coefficient is this. The numbers on the arrows, they are called the path coefficient. They are showing the relationship between the construct. So we recommend that here we don't really have we don't have any threshold, but the higher the number, the better. The higher, the better. So, for example, if you take these two, this is 0.693, this is 0.7. It seems the relationship between retention to studies and high exam score is higher in terms of their path coefficient is higher compared to this. Among them, the one that has a weaker relationship, I would say the weakest relationship is this 0.28, acceptable. In other words, anything more than 0.1, anything more than zero, because zero is more of like neutral or there's no relationship. But anything more than zero is acceptable. You can report that, but we don't have a threshold. The higher, the better. The higher, the better. The higher, the better. So report the path coefficient, and here it seems they are all okay. You can talk about this this weakest relationship. Any other thing that you have to report? Check, assess the in-sample. So this is where we look at the R square and then adjusted R square. I guess you still remember R square and adjusted R square. Some of you, I guess you still remember. So the R square and adjusted R square help us to, they are called the coefficient of determination. They help us to know the explanation of the dependent variable based on the independent variable. In other words, like if there's, let's say there is a change in Ghana, there's economic growth, Ghana is growing, Ghana is doing well, things are working. What accounted for that, or what is accounting for that? So if you look at all the factors that account to that, what percentage, like statistically, what percentage are these factors, which are the independent variables, are explaining the change in the economic growth of Ghana? What percentage? I'm just making it very practical and simple. Yeah, so this one too, which one is better? Here too, we don't really have a threshold as to which one is better. Where do you see this? Normally you see this here. It comes in the 0 point. And if you put your cursor on it, it will even give you the result. You don't have to worry yourself. Here too, the higher the better. If your independent variables are able to explain, are able to give us reasons for why there is a change or something is happening, then better. The higher, the better. The higher, the better. We don't really have a threshold. Could be 0.2, 0.5, but the higher the better. Like if you have something like 0.6, 7, 8, 9, better. Yeah, so you have to report the R squared, adjusted R squared as well.
No, please. The R squares, are they the ones in the latent variables?
Yeah. That's the white one. But as I said, can you see if you put your cursor on it, it will just the results will to show you. Can you see the box that comes out?
Yes, Doc.
Yeah, so just put your cursor on the white on the circle. It will just show you the result that you report. If you want to know, or if you want to pick them up, if you want to copy them straight, come to the result section and click on path coefficient. Yeah, to give you the results. You can copy this. One good thing about the Smart PLS is that you can copy your results straight up. Copy and just go and put it in the Excel or Word. So all of the results, the good thing is that it gives you the opportunity to copy. If you want to send it to R2, you can do the same. If you have R Studio, any of them. So that's one good thing about the Smart PLS. You don't have to look and type one by one. You can just copy, and just come and paste the thing there. You get it? So it makes it easier. Copy and paste. But the Smart PLS is very good. You don't have to look at the results one after the other and try to go and type, go and type, no, just copy and come and paste. And then once you paste it, then you can modify, you can make some changes here and report it as your results. Any other thing that you have to look up to? Yes, you need to look up to the effect size. The effect size. So the effect size, which one is better? So your effect size of 0.2 to 0.15 is small. Medium is this. The larger, the better. Okay. The larger, the better. Yes?
Is there any statistical result that you can check and see that, okay, the model has failed?
I would say yes. I would say no. Yes, in the sense that, remember, once you run the PLS-SEM, there are certain indicators. There are certain measurement indicators that will help you to know that the result is okay or not. For example, if you check the measurement model, let's take indicator reliability. If you are having indicator reliability and this one is 0.7 and above, then you are okay. This one is okay. All the other things are okay. Then it means your model is fine. Then you also check the structural model, and then everything is fine. Then your model is fine. But for you to go a little bit further, which I'll teach you next week, you need to check your model fit. So next week, I'll take you through this model fit, which is part of this. Once all these things are considered, apart from the measurement and then the structural model, I will recommend that you also check the model fit. Once you check the model fit and everything is fine, then your results, your model is fine. But if you check these things and some of them are lacking, then you can go ahead and say that your model has failed, or your results is not okay. Yeah. Are you okay with that? But you can't just say that your model has just failed by just saying your model has failed. If you just say that, no, my model has failed, no. The reason being that, once again, there are many things that you encounter because this is research, this is statistics, right? It's not always the case that all these indicators and all that you are going to get everything 100%. In many cases and most cases, you are not going to get all these things 100%. No, it's not possible. But you need to find something to justify what you have. You need to find something to justify what you have. And also, don't throw your work out if you start seeing some results. Don't say that I have failed or my results is not good enough. What may not be good enough may be something that will trigger future studies. Yeah, because you may think that. But I remember very well, there's one paper I submitted, and one of my factor loadings, it was 0.2 or so, and I removed it from my study. And the researcher asked me, why am I mean, the research the reviewer said, why did I remove it? I shouldn't remove it, I should keep it. Rather, I should conduct future studies by using qualitative like interviews and find out from the practitioners why that factor is considered weak or is not much considered, like, you know, because when the factor loading, if you have a factor loading or something which is lower than 0.7, then it's assumed that the factor is not good enough or the factor has an issue. So the reviewer was of the view that why don't I conduct further studies by using something like interviews to find out from practitioners why that factor is not normally considered when they are making decisions on circular economy. It was about circular economy. You get my point? So don't throw some results away just because maybe they are not good enough. Sometimes you have to keep them. Another thing that you can also do to overcome your model failing is that run your results again and again and again and again and again and again. Then another thing that you can do is that go back to check your data set. Sometimes the problem is about how you have cleaned your data. There are certain things that must be removed, and there are certain things that must be fixed. So don't throw your results away because you're having issues. Other than that, you run the first one and you see certain results or some results, you are going to give up. Don't give up. Run the model again and again and again and again. Sometimes the results that we present to you in our papers, we have run the results like 10 or 20 times before we got the results that we wanted to see. And it's allowed. It's not like you're doing something bad. Yeah. So do all these things. Don't just throw your results and your data away. Okay. What other thing that you have to check? So I'm going to end here. But before I end, I just want to show you this. This is the last thing I'm going to show you, and then we go away. Okay. So some of you, I know you have done all that I have told you last week. So let's assume you want to use a smart PLS. What do? You click on new project. You have to put your name, or you have to put a new project name there. So somebody like Deborah. This is just an example. Then you click OK. Once you click OK, I mean, this is how you start. It will ask you to import your data file. So wherever you have saved this, you just, this one, there are some issues in there that I have to fix. Right. So you just import the data. Once the data is imported, okay, you can go ahead to create the model, whatever model that you want to create. In this case, don't forget we are using the PLS-SEM, so you have to check on PLS-SEM. There's no data anyway. Here, there's no data, so this thing will not work. Once you open that, then the whole thing will start. Here, there's no data, that's why it's not working from here. Yeah. But if I have data just like this one, you just now you start. But the question that somebody will ask is, how do you start, or where do you start from? Just go back and look up to your conceptual framework. How you design your conceptual framework. Okay. Just go back to your conceptual framework. I'm going to send all these papers to you after today's class. Go back and I'm looking for another paper. Let me look for another paper. Go back to your conceptual framework or your hypothesis or whatever you have done. Yeah, so this is the model that they specified. And then just based on this to design your work. So for example, if this is something like this that I want to do based on my hypothesis and conceptual framework, I have to design the same thing here. So this, and this. I'm just giving you the basics, then we go. Yeah. So I'm just saying, I'm just using this as an example. It's not exactly. And then you click on connect. You connect them. One good thing about smart PLS is that if there's a way to change the direction of the indicators. So you put your cursor on it, you come to select, you put your cursor on it, and anywhere you want to direct them to, you can do it. Okay. So you can direct the indicators to wherever you want to change them to. I have this. If I want to run, the next thing is I come to the PLS algorithm. Next week, I'll teach you the difference. I'll show you the difference between PLS algorithm and then the consistent one, because it's a question that somebody asks during the training. Yeah, so if, for example, this is something that I wanted to do, something like this, then yeah, I've done that. I think that's what they wanted to do. Let me see. Unless maybe they have moderators and all that. Yeah, the same anyway. The same thing. The same thing. That the indicators are showing something. So the 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 are going toward this. So is your conceptual framework. Remember, is your conceptual framework 1, 2, 3, 4. They are all directing to this. Is your conceptual framework that you run. So it's not something new that you are going to run. That's the reason why if you don't specify your conceptual framework well, you are going to have issues. It's because it's the same thing that you have to run in the smart PLS. The same model. It's the same, just that you add your indicators. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. The same thing that you run. Okay. Okay. At this point, we can end. And if anybody has a question for the next 2 to 10 minutes, let me give maximum 10 minutes. 2 to 10 minutes. If anybody has a question or comment, you can pass before we go. Please, the floor is open. Your questions and comments are welcome before we go. If there's none, then we will end the class. Hello? Are we online?
Yes, though, we are.
Yeah, we're here. I think.
Is there anyone who has a question?
No, not from my end.
Okay, so if no question, hey, who is that?
Someone's talking in the background.
Yeah.
Sorry, microphone also.
Okay, that's okay. But
Some
do
are
you have a
feeding
question?
their babies.
Okay, do you have a question? No question? Okay, thank you. What I want to say is that, in fact, Smart PLS and CB-SEM, they are very good. They are very interesting models that I want everybody to get used to it and have an upper hand over it. They are so interesting. They are so nice. And if you use them to write your papers and your thesis, people love it because of how the whole thing is. Because it's a bit complicated to outsiders. Yeah, it's a little bit complicated to outsiders, but to those who know, it's very enjoying. To those
Hello,
who
Doc.
know how, yes.
Please,
Yes, please stop.
During the discussion, are you going to be explaining these things?
Yeah.
How tests are relating and all that? I don't know.
Come again. I want to get it properly. What do you
Today
mean
you
by that?
have said a lot of things. In fact, I was confused from the beginning until you came back to show us how to run this thing. I'm
Oh,
just saying,
really?
yes, I was really confused. I was just watching the whole thing until you came back to do the running again before I understood where we were coming from.
Today, what
I'm
I
just
was
saying,
showing to you, let me get this to you before I come back to answer your question. Today, what I decided to show to you is how to report your results from the data. That's what I have been showing. So I started by saying that your survey results, the responses, first present the profile of the respondent. If you were following, that's the first thing that you have to report. 2, if your data set is in such a way that, or your survey is in such a way that you have not already categorized the factors. Unlike, I know many of you have the factors and the groups and the latent variables and all that, you have already categorized that. But if yours is not like that, and yours is, everything is together, there are factors, you don't know which one is latent variables, you don't know which one is indicators and blah, 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 then it is good you run the EFA, which is exploratory factor analysis, to categorize that. Then the next thing that you have to do is that in order to make sure that the responses that you are going to use for your structural equation modeling, they are okay, you need to check what we call the common method bias. To make sure that your data set is okay, your responses are fine. Now, once all these things have been done, now you come to the actual structural equation modeling, which in this context, we are using the PLS. So you go to the PLS software, then you import your data, you put everything in, then you run it. And then when you run it, the first thing that you have to check is the measurement model. Within the measurement model, you check things like the construct reliability, discriminant validity, so you check all these things to make sure that the measurement model is okay. Then when it comes to the structural model, you check things like VIF, the R square, and the rest. And then next week I'll show you that the hypothesis. Also the hypothesis. Yeah, so this is what I've been teaching you. Now you can ask your question.
Yeah,
Are you
so
here?
yes, sir. I was saying that during the discussion stage, you have to be explaining the results from your construct reliability, discriminant validity, and all those things, and relate it to.
No. During your discussion, which will be a major part of your work, discussion will be something that, let's say, the discussion part, probably you can make it section 5. The discussion part, what you need to report, what you need to discuss is the hypothesis in relation to your research objectives or research questions, the output of the hypothesis. Because that's discussion is about what's the main thing. With respect to the discriminant validity and construct reliability, you leave them here. Once you explain them that, oh, the contract reliability is this, is more than 0.7, everything is fine, blah, blah, blah. You explain it all. You leave them there. VIF is okay. You leave them the model fit, predictive relevance, they are all okay. You leave them in this section. But when you come to the discussion part, what you need to discuss is your hypothesis. Whether you have been able to achieve what you claim that, yeah, I mean, this one, like, for example, the hypothesis is, this is the hypothesis, this is the second hypothesis, this is blah, blah, blah. The question is, based on your results, are these claims the same, or they are different, or what? That is what you have to discuss. And normally, remember, your hypotheses are formed out of your research questions. They have something to do with your research questions and research objectives, or your research purpose. So that's what you have to discuss. Don't discuss, and in the discussion part, don't discuss things like demographics, the number of people, and then the educational profile and all. They are not relevant unless the demographics form part of the moderating and mediating factors. Discussion, concentrate on the claims that you made, the hypothesized claims. Let us know whether these claims, according to your results, they are so or they are not. That's what you have to discuss. Don't discuss discriminant validity in the discussion part. I want to, okay, the reason why, sorry about that, King, because I have not read there yet. That's why I didn't talk about that part. But when we get there, and definitely we are going to get there, which is normally section 5, normally in my papers, you need to talk about the claims, the hypothesis, the research objective. This is one part that I think many students have a lot of issues. In the discussion part, then the student will be talking about what, the profile of the respondents and all that. No, that's not the goal. That's not the aim of discussions. Discussions are meant to help us to understand whether your claims, which is the hypothesis, and your results, in light of existing studies, whether they agree or they are not, or they contradict. That's the purpose of discussions. Yeah, so sorry about that, King. I have a whole this thing to take you through next week. That's I've not read that yet. That's why I didn't spend time to explain that. Yeah, but the best thing to do is that when you get to your discussions part, don't talk about all these things. These things are not needed. We don't need all these things again. Don't repeat the profile of the respondent, the EFA that you conducted, the common method bias measurement. They are not needed. Once again, I want to repeat this. They are not needed in the discussion part. Don't repeat them, because what you are saying, you are right, because I've seen student even thesis and people try to repeat like the educational level of, then they are discussing educational levels of participants and all that. They are not needed in discussions. The original purpose of discussions are meant to help us to understand the main thing that you intended to achieve in your study, whether you have achieved them or you have not. The objectives, which are normally represented by the hypothesis, because we get a hypothesis out of that, whether you have achieved them or not. And not only that you have achieved them or not, but in the light, in relation, comparing them to existing studies. What is new? What is your findings, your results? Are they contradicting what is already known in existing studies, or they are supporting what is already known in existing studies? Yeah, that's the discussion part. That's what it's supposed to be. But as I said, in many cases, you see many students, many people having discussing things, and their discussions are somewhere and the results are somewhere, and they are bringing in demographics, and it's like you don't see the head and tail of the head and the tail of the whole thing. Discussions are meant to help us to know, okay, you intended to achieve A, B, C, D goals. The question is, have you achieved them? So discuss, have you achieved them? Maybe the answer is yes. And when you achieve the goals, are these things that you have achieved, are they supporting what is already known in existing studies? Or is something that is contradicting what is known? That's what the discussions are meant to be. Yeah. So please, certain things shouldn't be discussed, because things like about the profile of respondents and all, unless, once again, I'm there, I just want to add this, unless the profile of the respondents and all that, they form part of what you intended to achieve, then in that case, yes, you can discuss them. But if they are not, you don't have to discuss them. Yeah, how you conducted the EFA, you see them talking about how they conducted the EFA in the discussion part, how they conducted the SEM. No, those things are not needed. What we need here is you set certain hypotheses. Okay, so this hypothesis that you set, the question is, the claims that you made based on your results, are the claims okay or they are not? And if they are okay or they are not okay, are they supporting or contradicting existing studies? That's it. Yeah, thank you. So I'll take my time to take you through this next week, because this is a very, to me, it's one of the key parts of your resource. The discussion part is something that I see a lot of people. And then another thing also has to do with implications and contributions. It's also one section that a lot of students struggle with, which will be, normally I put that as section 6, implications. What's the difference between implications and contributions? So next time I'll take you through that before you come to section 7, which is your conclusion, the conclusion part of your paper. The conclusion part, some people separate the conclusions from limitations, but others also add the limitations to conclusions. It depends on how you want to go about it and all that. So I'm going to take you through all these things next week and then the next 2 weeks. But if everything is fine, I think we can end the meeting now. And then,
a quick one
before we go. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you came back, you said before you get to SEM, which means you see what you have listed here, we have the profile of respondents and we have the EFA and all of that, then the SEM, the PLS-SEM. So I just want to clarify, is it that this other 3 preliminary thing that need to be done cannot be done in PLS-SEM, or is it optional, or they can all be done in PLS? I remember you mentioned that they can be done in SPSS, status, and then you even mentioned another software. Is it Mavic or Mavic? Yeah. So I just wanted to be sure that is it that all of this can be done in PLS-SEM, but it's advisable or easier to do it there before we get to PLS-SEM, or they are not there at all, and we must necessarily do them outside of PLS-SEM?
Okay, that's a very good question. So all these things can be done in PLS-SEM. Smart PLS, you can do all these things there. But the reason why I mentioned that is that some people have issues with Smart PLS when it comes to this part. You know, some people are confused, some people don't even know what to do. So I just recommended alternatives. And always it's good for you to have alternatives. The alternatives are meant to confirm what you have done. But to answer your question, Solomon, you can do all these things in Smart PLS. All these preliminary stuff in Smart PLS. You can do that. Why? Because in the Smart PLS, it will give you the overview of the data. And out of the overview of the data, you can easily get the profile of the respondent. Yeah, so you can do that. there. And then when it comes to the EFA, one good thing about the current Smart PLS is that it has the capacity to help you to run EFA. The Smart PLS now have it, because in the past, like the Smart PLS 321 and co, that one was not there. But now there is a capacity, like for example, you take the principal component analysis. It's there, you can do it. So that can be done. And once you can run principal component analysis, then that means you can easily get your CMB, which is the common method bias, by looking at the unrotated factor. So all these things can be done, but just that I recommended, or I presented these things to you for confirmation purposes. Yeah, you can even use Excel. I recommend you use Excel. You know, it's just a matter of checking your data, cleaning them up, fixing issues. You just have to be like somebody who is I mean, some in the normal sense is a read wide. Isn't that what we say? Read wide, something like that. Yeah, that's why I presented all that. But if you are going by strictly by the Smart PLS, all the things can be done here without looking at other things. But I just recommended alternatives to help you out.
All right. Yeah,
Even I'll even go ahead to I'll even go ahead to recommend to you that use Excel.
Okay.
Yeah, normal Excel, like the demographics and all that. You can use normal Excel to generate the tables and pie charts and all that. You don't necessarily have to do everything in Smart PLS. You can use normal Excel to generate all these busy statistics. So just be somebody who is open to accept other softwares to help you out to do your analysis. Yeah. So thank you, Solomon, for asking. I think it was a very important question. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof.
Dog, I have a question.
Yeah, ask before we go.
Dog, see the sample paper that you shown us.
Yeah.
Sample, they are. If you go to their this thing, the SEM, the diagram that they shown.
Okay.
Yeah.
The resource.
Yeah, the results. Not this one, another one. Or
That one is not the same. The first one is a question.
Yes, the first one you should ask.
Oh, the first paper. Oh, okay.
Yes, the first paper.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the first paper. Good, this one.
Yeah.
So I think their diagram will be similar to
this one.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was asking, as you are taking us through, I'm also doing it as my side. And because you see where they have the BMI implementation benefit, it has no indicators.
Okay.
But it's green. My side is red, and then they are telling me that it has no indicators.
Yeah, because you have not put indicators there.
But they don't have indicators.
They have indicators. Can you see well? Okay, so there's a way of hiding. Okay, let me show you. There's a way of hiding your. Let me show you. There's a way of hiding. Click on this. You can hide your indicators.
Oh, okay.
You can hide your indicators all the time, especially when you are dealing with so many indicators. You just click on this and look for hide indicators. We normally use that when your indicators are many. Like let's say you are dealing with about 10, 15, 8, 12. Because if you are going to show about 12, 10, 17, 8, 7 indicators, you imagine how this diagram will look like. It will look some way. So in such situations, we hide them. And you can review them, you can show them later.
Please, can you go to the paper again?
Okay.
Yeah. So this particular one, you see, the benefit that we have there, if you look at where the yellow things are, it is that the indicators on the yellow side. You see, all of them are benefits. All of them are also benefits.
Yeah, all of them are benefit. Don't forget that I told you that this paper, they started by putting all the benefits together. So initially, we didn't know which one belonged to whatever group of. This is how it looked like, just like your paper or your study. And because all the factors were together, first they conducted the EFA, and that's where I recommended the EFA. That's where I mentioned or I explained the EFA. They conducted the EFA to categorize the group, the factors, because here is a case where they have 33 factors. So the question then is which one belongs to what group and whatever. So they first conducted EFA, and out of the EFA, they got a principal component, and the principal component formed the groups.
Good.
Right? Based on the principal component. So this is the results of their EFA. That's the results. And based on this, they went ahead to use it for the SEM. Yeah.
So the main one, the beam, where like it, what should be
okay? Great. So that's one I'll teach you the last one. There's something that we call the first order, the first order SEM, and then the first order or the first degree SEM, and the second order degree SEM. For example, let me show you quickly here. If I have, let's assume that, okay, so these are my thing. Like these are my, I want to show you quickly. So this is what I have, right? And all these latent constructs, let's assume they are all formed. This is what we call the formative. Remember when I started with you, I taught you what we call the formative indicators. And then we have what we call the reflective indicators. In this context, we are going to have what we call the formative model. Why? Because it seems that all these three, they are latent construct. All three of them, they are all moving to this. Great. So let's assume that this one moving to this, there is another one. I just want to show you something. There is another. So let's assume this is how it looks like. So all these three are moving here. So if all these three are moving here, then what we need to know is that if this BI, let's assume that we started with this BI without indicators. They didn't have any indicators. So what do you do? So what you have to do is that if this BI, if in case they don't have indicators, then you have to use all the three indicators from here, all the three indicators from there, and all the three indicators, add them together to make them what? 9. All the 9 will be used as the indicators of BI.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. But
okay.
I'll teach you in the last distance, because they are normally called the first order and then the second order indicators and latent construct.
I'm okay now. I understand why my own is red. It means I have to bring all the indicators to that side too.
Yeah. So all the indicators.
Okay.
They have to, and there are many. And because there are many, that's why the guy decided to hide it.
Yeah,
Imagine having all these things here. There are going to be many, so they just decided to hide it.
I get it. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Yeah, you are welcome. Yeah.
Great.
Is there any other person with question? I think somebody wanted to talk. Anyone? Question? Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so thank you very much. We'll continue next week. Because we have done many things today, please start trying them using your data. Use your data to try. Use your model. Just pick your model and try. Okay. If you want to watch it again, I'm going to upload this on my YouTube channel or on the YouTube channel. Watch the YouTube channel and try your hands on them. And then not only trying, if in case you run them and you get good results, I recommend you start writing. I'm going to share all these papers with you. Start writing. It's better that you start writing instead of running and just sitting there. If you run and you get good results, write them down. Start writing, typing. Okay, start interpreting the outcome. If you, in case everything is fine, you are getting good results, start writing them down. Okay. Okay, so this is the template once again. And quickly, this is the last. I want to just go over this quickly, and then that'll be the end. First, the results. Present the profile of the respondent. If you don't have your groups categorized already, if they are categorized, don't run the EFA. There's no need. If you already have a conceptual framework, theoretical framework, if the groups, you have your distinct categorized from your survey, don't run any EFA. There's no need. Then go ahead and then check the common method bias. And then from there, just run the PLS-SEM, or do all that in the smart PLS. Get all these things done, check the construct reliability, discriminant validity, indicator reliability, and all that. Just check that. And then I also check the structural model. Next week when we meet, I'll show you how to get the hypothesis results. This week I'll show you that. And then if you have something like mediator and moderator, what will be the results like? And how do you go about it? So somebody like, what's her name? Sharon. Is Sharon here? So somebody like Sharon, you have something like you have something like mediators and all that. So if you have that, how do you report that? Yeah, Sharon and others, you have mediated. So I'm going to show you next week how to go about all that next week. So next week is about the hypothesis. So the hypothesis that you have stated, or you have stated in your literature review, how do you get the results for that? How do you run that? Yeah, I don't want to start that because that will also take another time explaining, and it's going to take another 1 hour or 2. So that I'll do that next week. Yeah, but with the initial results, like the descriptives, the common method bias, and then the measurement model, please start reporting them. Start reporting them. Start writing. Just check the construct reliability, the discriminant validity. And once again, as I told you, if you want to copy, it's easy to copy. Just copy. The smart PLS is so nice, so good. You can just copy and paste. Thank you very much for coming. Have a great weekend. God bless. Bye. So I'll share the results with you, okay?
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.